I want to first of all start off by saying that obviously taking on an opponent that we just took on and giving them credit. They've been at the top of college football over the last 2 years and have played exceptionally well. Their staff has done a great job, and I knew that we were in for a war. I knew we were in for a battle, but I will say this: there's 111 guys in that locker room over there. There's about 35 staff members that we have, and while this might have shocked a lot of people and shocked the country, it didn't shock those guys and our staff. And this is something that we've been working for. We've been working toward. This has been a building process, and building from the ground floor up, as I've said many times. And it truly is a one day at a time mentality. For us to come in and get a win, a signature win like this, is huge. And as I shared with our players for the last 2 weeks, it just takes one to start a revolution. It just takes one win to put some wind in our sails. When we came off the field against Tulsa, that was as hurt a locker room as I've ever been a part of. And for 2 weeks, we've had to respond. And I shared with them, if we would all respond the right way, great things are coming. I don't know when, but great things are coming. But we got to believe in the process, and that's winning one play at a time and winning one day at a time. And that was my message at halftime. That was my message before the game. Is we're going to stick to the process, and we're just going to focus on winning one play at a time. And that's been our process and part of our culture. I'm extremely proud of our staff. These guys have worked exceptionally hard over the last 19 games and in almost 24 months that we've been here. And we kept, I keep saying that, look, something's going to go our way at some point. We got to keep believing, and we've got to keep holding our players accountable. And to see the results come out tonight in an opponent that we just faced was remarkable. I'm extremely proud of where we are and where this program is going. We've been getting better over the last few weeks. I have seen that in some areas, and we just needed something to go our way. And we were able to create some opportunities tonight, and that was big. So with that, there's a great atmosphere going on in that locker room right now. Over 300 and something recruits here. A great atmosphere here in Ford Stadium tonight, one of many. And it's a process, and we'll come back to work tomorrow and get ready for our next opponent. But we're going to turn the city red tonight.
Coach, can you talk about Jarvis Pruitt?
Yeah. Jarvis Pruitt probably played his best ball game that I've seen him a part of. He has been extremely dedicated and focused on the process and living out the last 40-something days of his senior year. He sat in a senior meeting. He sat right over there in a senior meeting and in front of our entire seniors. And he said, we don't have to do anything special. We got to go play. And I think that's what he did tonight. And I think his play was plenty. He didn't have to talk. And I think his play, as well as all our players' play, spoke very, very loud. Proud of Jarvis. I think he had 3 sacks tonight, if I'm not mistaken. Man, he played well, as all of them did, a lot of them.
Second straight week, your offensive line hasn't allowed us that. How much of that is still left over from the response from the Temple game?
Well, I think a lot of it is. I really do. I think that those guys were challenged pretty hard and they saw the results up on, and they had to see the results in front of their whole team. The team had to see that, and they had to watch clips of some of the effort that we gave at Temple, and that was something that I wanted to pinpoint out and show, and that this is unacceptable in this program. We're not going that direction in this program, and they've responded for 2 weeks. Coach Fry, Coach Sorrells has done a great job getting those guys ready. Again, I'm going to commend our staff, Van Malone and our defensive staff, Joe Craddock, and our offensive staff, Derek Riley, and Keith Gunn and our special teams. It really was a collective effort, but more importantly, it's those players that believed in what we're doing. And this is, when you talk about a program where we have been 23 months ago and to where we are right now, we're trending and we're in the right direction.
Chad, talk about the defense tonight. You were able to hold Houston down to 300 yards, to be able to control Ward into sacking 7 times. Just how big was the defense?
Obviously, it was huge. Outside of one drive, and they really didn't have much. They capitalized off of a fumble that we gave them, but we knew how explosive they were. We knew that the talent that surrounds Greg, and he's playing as well as anybody in the country. They had one of the best third down offenses of anybody in the country, and so we knew that we felt like coming in, we weren't gonna stop him. We just hoped to contain him and keep him within the pocket and not let him get free and just get something cheap off of us. And I thought that Coach Malone and his staff did a great job putting things together to really emphasize the fact that, look, if someone's going to beat us, let's make sure it's not him. And we did a good job of mixing up the reads and not letting him just have the same read over and over again. Again, that one drive, they were able to convert 2 or 3 third and longs, and it was him seeing it, and that's what great quarterbacks do. So I thought huge about our defense to come up tonight. I don't know how many turnovers we had tonight, but it was huge for those guys to come up and to create some turnovers, especially early in the game. We were able to capitalize off of it, but defensively playing aggressive. Our defense has played well all year long, though. And this is something that was, again, doesn't surprise me how well these guys are getting better. But it was a war. It was a fight. We knew it was going to be a fight.
Coach, second week in a row, Ben Hicks doesn't throw an interception, looked really poised behind the line tonight. Is there anything you said to him before the game or we're doing with him this week? How's come up how he's growing?
Well, again, when you start looking back, his first game was against Baylor, and to watch him mature and just force some balls along the way. And, our message to him was, look, just you don't have to go win the game. Just go control it. Go and get the ball in your playmakers' hands. Get your protections right. That was the number one key that we shared with him. Coach Craddock's done a great job with him. And that was, giving him some confidence. Ben actually against the Temple, taking all the hits that he took, probably played one of his better games at that point in time in the season. And he played better against Tulsa and obviously tonight. I thought that the pass that he stood in there on right before half and took a hit and got it to James Prochet, I thought that was, again, it just gave us such a big lift going into halftime. So, yes, sir.
You've only been here 23 months, but I wondered if, when you're out there in the middle of the field at the end of the game, and a lot of longtime fans were out there, I wondered if you got a sense of sort of the history. I believe it's 1983 was the last time you guys beat a top 11 program.
Is that when it was, 1983? I didn't know that, and Brad told me that. I do know this. After the game, and to see our student body and our former players and some of the alumni out there, I don't know how long I stayed out there taking pictures with them, but the thank yous that Coach, would thank you. We've been waiting on something like this to give us life back in this program, and they were so close a few years ago, and it went down from there. And this win is one. It's just one, and we got 5 more games ahead, but this is a big one. Because we needed this one. This is one that puts wind in your sails. This one gives you direction. This one creates a belief. This one allows your fan base to understand that there are great things coming. We've been close. We've been really close against some really good teams. And but to see them, and matter of fact, several of the former players were in the locker room and that played here a long, long time ago, and just all they could say is thank you. That this is special.
Was there any discussion this week about Coach Herman's off-season comments about
Well, I'll just say this: we're extremely excited about where this program is going, and these guys deserve this win. And it doesn't shock. It might shock everybody else, but it doesn't shock me. So, yeah.
Now, we've seen this team play well against some pretty good teams for 30 minutes. What was the difference tonight that allowed the team to finish for the whole season?
Well, I just think that it was the mentality of believing in our process. You know, there's so many times that you see people start playing and reacting out of emotion, and the moment emotion kicks in, you lose control. And so our focus was literally on just don't count the seconds, just win the play. You know, don't worry about the drive. Just focus on the one play, and that literally was our message to our guys. Is that look, there's a lot of ball that's got to be played the second half, and we've got to play every snap of it. And we can't look at the scoreboard. There was nothing less important than the score at half, and for us to be able to come out with that one play warrior mentality that we so much talk about around our program, and it's so much about our culture. Are you talking about with our who? With our O-line or with the whole team? Yeah, I mean, it was, you know, and I just said, look, that, you know, for us to get to where we want to be in our program, it truly is, and I keep saying this, but it was a one day at a time mentality, and you know, the performance we put on the field against Temple, you got to give Temple credit now. They played well. Their program, they were at a 2-2 in their season. They were at a pivotal point in time, 4 years into Coach Rule's program, and so you could sense their maturity level was a whole lot stronger than ours. And so coming back off of that one, the challenge is that look, if this is the way this thing's going to go the rest of this season, then don't expect any different results. We're going to have to do something about it. There's only one group that can do something about it, and that's us. And we use the E plus R equals O all the time. The events plus the response equals the outcome. Well, you can't control the event, you can't control the outcome, but you can control how you respond to things. And that was our message all week long, is how are we going to respond after losing to Temple, losing a heartbreaker to Tulsa, and because if we all respond the right way, great things are going to happen. I don't know when we were going to get the results that we need. I don't know when the outcome was going to go in our favor, but I do know this, and I've won my whole life, and we got winners in that program, and winners in that locker room and in that staff room, and if you stay with something long enough, you're going to win at it. You got to believe in the process, and that's what this program is. We're building something from literally the ground floor, and changing a complete culture of SMU football at SMU, and across the state and across the country. That's what we're doing, and you're doing it. It wasn't a quick fix. It's not a quick fix, and this is just one win, but it's a big one, and we're going to build on this one. And we're going to get back in here, and we're going to go to work tomorrow. And there will be challenges. There was some things that we did wrong last night, but these guys deserve it. We're going to celebrate tonight. And like I said, we're going to turn the city red, and we're going to have a great time with it tonight. And we get back in here tomorrow, we'll regroup, and we'll figure out who we play next.
Another good game from Zeltminer. What have you seen from him this year that's been so different from the past?
You know, a fifth-year senior that I probably challenged him as hard as I did anybody. Buddy White did a great job and has done a great job from that defensive line of, you know, he was going into his fifth year, and I just asked him. I said, Zell, you're a highly recruited guy. What have you done since you've been here? And there was really not a big response. And so I said, well, you have an opportunity to leave a legacy here. And you got your whole senior year. And I'm extremely proud of Zeltminer because he's playing really well. He's playing as consistent a football as anybody I got. So it's great to see that out of him. And that's what you expect as he takes on these younger guys, the Demick Garys, and shows them this is what we do. So.
As well, what about getting that from Demick Gary as like a freshman?
Yeah.
On a game like this?
Well, we got some great freshmen. 90% of our production is from freshmen right now, freshmen and sophomores. And but we are getting some quality leadership out of our veteran guys, Darren Malines, Zeltminer, Jarvis Pruitt, and so that's big. Horse Richardson's another one. But you're seeing a group of guys come together. You're seeing a program take its next step. That's what you're seeing.
You mentioned the huge crowd of recruits you had tonight. What was your message to them after the game?
Well, I shared with them when I got them in here before the game, and I talked about what we're building. And I told them, I said, you're going to see a phenomenal effort tonight on this field. And I promised them that this will be a night that they won't forget. That was the way I left it.
With the recent talks of the Big 12 expanding, Houston was on the #1 for a lot of people's lists. Was that used for motivations, or do you think something?
No. I really no. That's really out of my control. I'm worried about my players and the SMU football program and where we're going, and that's that we focused on how we were going to respond and believing in our culture and taking it one day at a time. And that's but no, that was absolutely no talk in this room.
You've talked so much this year about the last 4 minutes of the first half, first 4 minutes of the second half. After Houston scored, were you initially planning to sort of run out the clock before Braden ripped off that 40-yard run?
Yeah.
And then when he did and you ended up scoring, how big did that impact in the outcome?
Yeah, I told Coach Craddock, I said, look, let's run it on first down and second down. Let's see where we are. And if we get a first down, then we may take a shot. Obviously, second down, we hit a big long run, and then it was then we knew what we were going to call at that point. We were ready. It was one of our shots, our landmark shots at that point. So, but yeah, that was the intent. Was if we got stuffed on first and second, we were going to run it out. But second down, we picked up a big gain, and then we went on with there. I thought it was a huge momentum change, especially going into halftime. We won that 4-over-4 moment. And we had talked about it on the sidelines. Coming out after half, the second 4-over-4 moment, the first 4 minutes of the second half, they didn't score, we didn't score, so it would be a push at that point. But so many games when you look at them are decided in that 8-minute time, and when we win at least one part of it, it's it usually there's the game has a tendency to be really tight, or you win them. So.
Last question.
So Braden West was one of the guys I was most excited for this game, and he was the captain and everything. So why was Myron taking snaps for the game?
Yeah, that's a great question. Braden West didn't work out any the last 2 weeks. Braden West has been hurt. And so I didn't really know if Braden was going to play. Braden was a game-time decision, and so that was it. We had worked Myron in there at running back for basically, well, he's been working there about the last couple weeks, and so that was it.
Okay, thanks a lot.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.